Hello everyone, my name is Douglas Bloch. I'm an author and depression survivor. Welcome to your Depression Recovery channel, where each week we talk about practical tools and coping strategies for healing from depression and anxiety. Well, today I thought I'd continue my Back from the Brink series, in which I interview other depression survivors and find out how they got over the depression, what they're doing to stay well, in the hopes that you, my viewers, can learn from it. And today we have a special guest from my support group, Jessica. Hello, Jessica.
Hello, Douglas. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's great to have you here. So I always begin with my first question is, do you have a mental health diagnosis like anxiety or depression? And if so, when did you first receive it?
I do. I have 3 diagnoses. I was first diagnosed with panic disorder in the 2nd grade after I'd had a few panic attacks. Later, I was diagnosed with major depressive disorder after moving home from college out of state in 2006. And then I was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder in 2010.
Keeping up with the Joneses, I see.
Yeah. Yes.
Who has the most diagnoses? All right. Now, oftentimes when people have, chronic issues like you, there's often a genetic link or a history of mental health disorders in the family. Have you been able to identify any in your own parents, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, etc.?
Nothing diagnosed by a professional. No one in my family has sought treatment for depression or anxiety, but I do suspect that family members of mine struggle with mood disorders, although, who knows if the stigma is too great.
Right. And my mother had depression, never admitted it, but then she had a breakdown when she was 79, had to be hospitalized, so, there it was, undiagnosed, but still very real.
Yeah.
I think the statistic is only half of the people who have depression actually go for help and get a diagnosis, so it's very common that people, don't get that help or diagnosis. So, what were the things that helped you, maybe your anxiety when you were 2nd grade or the depression when you came home from college? What were the treatments you sought and what was helpful?
When I was very young, my mom didn't want me on medication. It was very sedating, the anti-anxiety medication that they had put me on for my panic attacks, and so we really managed it together. She kept me very well distracted. I have a very a mind that's prone to overthinking, and so making sure that I am I wouldn't say distracted, focused on something productive really helped in my youth, and that has actually continued to help me today. But there have been a lot of things that have contributed to my recovery.
I think you said when you went away to college, you said you were very lonely on the other side of the country. Mm-hmm. So you were on the East Coast as opposed to Oregon?
Yeah, I went away to school in Ohio for a year, and it was really a big experiment for me. I had never been out of state before. This was my first time flying. And when I came home, I really felt like I had failed, and I felt very lost and hopeless. I didn't know what to do with myself or my life, and I felt just very, very alone and very ashamed.
Right. Well, the same thing happened to me when I went to college. Oftentimes, when people go to college, bipolar disorder comes out, schizophrenia comes out. Mm-hmm. People don't realize it's very stressful when people leave home at age 18. The brain is still not formed yet. They're really still children at 18, and so many disorders come up because of the stress of going up to school. So you're one of many. You came home and you had this feeling of failure, depression. You sank pretty low, but I think you told me that you went on a medication that helped you at the time. Yeah,
I was feeling very just lost and adrift and hopeless, and I didn't know what to do. No one in my family noticed really that there was anything going on with me, and I really had to kind of seek out a doctor on my own. I wasn't making any money. I didn't have a job. I had to go to a free clinic and talk to someone and lay it all out for them. And she ended up putting me on Celexa, which did help me get past a lot of that really, dark, hopeless feeling. It wasn't perfect, but it did help me kind of get over the hump so that I could start improving things on my own.
I have a feeling that when you felt hopeless, you probably had some suicidal ideation. it usually comes with the territory.
Yeah, I never had a plan, but I did feel like the world would be better off without me in it if there was a way that I could just wink out of existence.
Right.
But I always, had a pact with myself that I would never do something to hurt my friends or family in that way.
Well, that's what helped me.
Yeah.
Same thing. So then when you were around 29, you came into the support group that I facilitate because, again, you'd had another episode, aside from the one from the college, and years later there you were again. And were you also feeling hopeless and distraught and depressed at the time you came to the group?
Very. I had just changed jobs, which should be, a joyous event, but the stress of change was enough to throw me back into another episode. And I think I was also experiencing what we call Prozac poop out, where my medication had just done all it could, and it had just stopped working for me.
So you did come to the group, and I think you mentioned earlier that one of the things the group did was give you a way to open up yourself and be vulnerable, because normally I can tell from the way your temperament is that it's hard for you to reach out. You'll help others but won't accept that you need help yourself. But the group gave you a forum to do that and also a way to help others. Is that more or less what happened?
Yeah, definitely. I didn't know what to do. I was searching the internet for answers and came across the YouTube channel of a man named Noah who is big no-no on YouTube. And after watching a few of his videos that I found very helpful, I was experiencing a lot of depersonalization, which I don't think people talk about as much with this type of issue, but discovered that he was going to your support group, which is in Portland, where I live. And so I started reading your website and watching your videos and found your support group that way. And it was a huge change for me. I had never felt supported in my recovery before, or that you're right, I did have a very hard time asking for support and reaching out for support, because I was brought up that you should do everything for yourself, and it's kind of a sign of weakness if you have to ask others for help. So it was a big learning experience for me. It was hard to be vulnerable with other people, but I got so much out of it. It was so worth it.
Right, and here we are now in the present.
Mm-hmm.
I know, like myself, you cycle up and down it, but you're on an uptick now. You've just changed. You're about to. Well, you've left a job. You're starting a new job on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
In 3 days. Yeah. At a job you've always wanted at Oregon Health Sciences University in Portland, OHSU, and that job is going to be a stepping stone, hopefully, for you to go to nursing school. Of course, you're a very caring, compassionate person. You'd be a great nurse, and so you're feeling better now. But share with the viewers, what are the things that you're doing that you think is helping you maintain a better mood, so you can go to this new job and succeed. And you mentioned earlier about having a new member of your family.
Yes, yeah. So recovery is so multifaceted. There are so many things that it's not just the medication, and it's not just any one thing in particular, but being able to say that I've achieved some of my goals has definitely contributed to an increase in my mood. I recently got a dog named Ichabod, and he brings so much joy to my life. He also provides a source of routine. I wake up every day at the same time, go to bed at the same time because of him, which is something that I really struggled with before. And as you say in your book, routine is really important for depressives and folks with mood disorders. He's made it so that I get exercise every single day. And I just, honestly, I can't thank him enough for all that he's done to improve my life.
Someone called in a dog a treadmill with fur.
Yeah.
And also you've made some adjustments with your medication, which have helped.
Yeah.
And also you're eating better, it's always, like you say, multifactored. And that's one of the things we talk about on this channel and in my book, and Noah talks about it. You can't just use one thing, because the brain is so complex, and if you rely only on medication, you will get Prozac poop out. The medication may stop working, but if you have that, social support, exercise, diet, spirituality, lifestyle habits. I mean, you combine that all together, then you're more likely going to stay well and continue to be well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, as a final note, because you've come through so much and come out of it so many times, I wondered if you could say a final word to the viewers out there who may be in a place that you were, where they feel lost, without direction, without hope, and they're wondering if it's even worthwhile to persevere.
Yeah, absolutely. If this is your first time doing this, it's not hopeless. There is absolutely hope for you, and things can change for the better, but it won't happen on its own. You have to reach out and ask those around you for support and help, and there's no shame in that. And there are people out there who will be there for you and show up for you if you just reach out your hand. And if you're going through this again and wondering how you got back here, just know recovery is not linear. It isn't just a straight line up to healing, and there are bumps on the road, and you can and will get through this, just if you take it one step at a time. And I'm here for you, and the world loves you and cares about you, and you are worthwhile, and there is hope for you.
Thank you. That was a lovely. And sometimes I find that people just need a tiny bit of reassurance just to get them over the hump.
Yeah.
Continue on. People are really resilient, and you're one of the more resilient of people I've met. So thanks a lot. I'm glad that you're what 30, 31 right now.
30. I just turned 32 a few
32.
days ago.
Okay,
yeah.
Great. So long hard work and things are maybe finally leveling out. But as you know, it's a chronic relapsing condition. But if you do have a dip, you know what to do. You know how to reach out for support. You know the tools.
Yeah.
And so, onward and upward.
Fully expect to be here again, but at least I know what to do now. Right. And it's been a pleasure being in your group and being here to talk about this.
Good luck on your job on Monday.
Thank you. Thank you.
This has been Douglas Bloch. Thank you for watching this interview. I think Jessica has been absolutely wonderful in being a model of how to persevere, and she's been so articulate in the tips she's given you. If you like this video, which I hope you do, give it a like, or you can email me, douglasbloch@gmail.com. If you want to subscribe to this channel, when my photo comes up on the screen during the closing credits, click on it, you'll go to the subscribe page, and if you click on the bell to the right of the subscribe button, you'll be notified every time I have a new video or a new live chat, which I do every Sunday at noon. And if you click on the image of Patreon, you can learn how to become a monthly sustainer of this channel for as little as $2 a month. And until we meet again, I wish you the best in your mental health recovery. Thank you so much for tuning in.